Short term, I'm not sure how much it's really going to change. I do agree that long term is perhaps the playbook that both countries and both leaders are looking at. But there are a couple of things I think that have struck me in listening to the language that both leaders have used in the last couple of days. Number one, it sounds awfully like what the Chinese talk about when they talk about win-win collaborations. That neither man used that phrase today, but if you think about it, the U.S. is speaking about the benefits that it can provide India. India is providing or explaining the benefits it can provide the United States. Nowhere do you see the differences, especially relating to human rights, or at least the perception of the differences of human rights, which I'll explain in just a second. Instead, you see this notion of, hey, we're the two largest democracies. We're obviously going to work together. Everything's going to be great. And then you have the issue that came up when one of the Wall Street Journal reporters asked the prime minister today about human rights, and he deflected the question, seemed almost upset by that kind of question. So it's interesting to me how Washington will tell you that on one level, human rights is the core or at the core of what this administration wants to do, and yet it will do business with India, which again has the perception of a human rights problem, and maybe it does have a human rights problem. It will do business with Saudi Arabia, which clearly has a human rights issue and is not a democracy, but it will use both of those criticisms against China, not democratic, not human rights oriented, all of that. My point being that Washington wants to appear to have it both ways here, and I'm not sure how well that's going to go over. As we talked about just a few nights ago, 2024 election is coming up. Biden, I think, wants to generate some victories now,
Yeah.
but whether they sustain themselves yet, we don't know.